two, one. Go for it, Nate.
Hi, welcome to the ALCast. My name is Nathan.
Hey, I'm Justin.
Hey, I'm Allan, and Chris is MIA tonight, folks. So it's just the three of us.
Yeah, so I guess there's just kind of like two things occupying my brain right now, and there really should be three. Like one of them should be work, but that's oh well. And the other two are so apparently they finally resolved this kind of stigma, I guess is what you would call it, with there were none of the Western countries sending their main battle tanks to Ukraine. And I think my sense of it is like there's just some sense of that just creates an image of participation that they wanted to avoid or something. Anyway, so do you guys heard about that? I think it just happened today.
Yeah. So I heard Morocco sent tanks over. They were like the first ones to send official tanks over. Prior to that, it seemed like Western countries weren't sending tanks, but they were sending mobile howitzers, which have treads and large main guns, which look a lot like tanks, and they're armored. On a practical level, I don't really know what the difference is between a mobile howitzer on treads with armor and a tank, but either way, like yeah, I did hear that Western countries are starting to send over tanks, which is cool.
Do they need them? Like, weren't they just doing like? Isn't most of this shit right now like drone warfare?
Like kinda.
The tanks are really big psychologically, like out there. It's like people focus on the tanks. It's like everybody. It's like if they see like a tank on the other side, everybody's like trying to shoot it. If they see a tank on their side, everybody's like hooray! Like we have a tank on our side. Like psychologically, like tanks are like very top of mind for like people out there, I think. Mm-hmm. And really like maybe the drones are actually more important. And maybe that's what people should be trying to figure out, how to send like a million fucking drones or something. But
I mean, they have a million fucking drones. That's why they're doing as well as they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
are they just like big like retail type of drones, or are they like actual like military spec drones?
I think it's mostly retail. Mostly retail drones. That's my sense of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so I don't think Morocco was actually the first one to send tanks, because what has been going on for a while is people have been sending and I think even the United States has done this before. We've sent Soviet type tanks, and I think a few other countries have. I think like Poland and like Czechoslovakia and in like all various kinds of like Eastern Bloc countries or other countries that just happen to have the Soviet style tanks. People have been sending those, and I guess the sense is like diplomatically that doesn't really change the situation, because it's like looking at the ground, you look at one of those tanks and it might as well have been like a kind of tank Ukraine already had. Mm-hmm. So in terms of like the image, I don't really know how much that image is worth, but it seems like people have put a lot of like diplomatic weight on that, just to think that like the image of an Abrams there in Ukraine or something would be like very different from the image of the United States sending like a I don't know, the Soviet tank name's a T-74 or something like that. And but yeah, but now it's actually like the Western designs that are going over too.
So like the NATO tanks are going now.
Yeah, like mainly probably the Leopard. It's going to be the main one.
And why did Poland need permission to send tanks? Because they were going through someone else's airspace or land space?
No, it's just like kind of it's kind of the norm. So it's like if you are operating tanks kind of designed by some other country, it's like they're just kind of involved. It's like, so if you're gonna like do something, it's like that other country is going to be typically would be involved supporting. I actually don't know. I think they were saying they didn't actually need permission, but like they kind of wanted it. And what Germany was saying was Germany didn't want to send Leopards if the United States didn't also send Abrams, And the United States is saying like there's no point in sending Abrams because Abrams have like gas turbine engines, which like won't actually be that useful since like they won't have that kind of fuel or something. But I think what the United States realized is like, well, we can send the Abrams and maybe they won't be able to use them. But if we send the Abrams, then Germany sends the Leopards, and then they probably will be able to use the Leopards since those are diesel and they've got plenty of that. So I think it was just like whatever. We'll send 50 Abrams and they won't be able to use them, but like at least they'll be able to use the other tanks, and maybe they will be able to use them anyway. I don't know.
Abrams are the ones that can run on anything, right? Like you just fucking pour vodka into it, and it's like, oh look, liquid fuel. It might as well just run.
I don't know actually. Yeah, maybe that's true.
Well, I think one of our tanks has like a reputation for.
I know they just take lots and lots and lots of fuel.
Yeah, it's like 10 gallons just to start up or some shit.
It's the only tank that has like a turbine. It doesn't have like a normal diesel engine, truck engine. It has like a turbine.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, that should be a good thing. Ukraine can take back more land. Hopefully they can like actually end the war now. I can't believe like Ukraine is like actually legit winning. That's insane to me, dude. Like this was supposed to be like a 2 or maybe 4 week event where Russia rolls through, they smash things, they blow shit up with planes, and then they win. Like I can't believe like we're in the spot we are now.
I think it's just the corruption there. I think it's like nobody up in the chain actually knows what's going on because it's like the way that type of society is structured. It's like you can't say anything bad to like whoever has like the next level of absolute power like above you in the hierarchy. Like you just can't piss them off to like kill you or something. So you're like, yes, Mr. Putin, like all the soldiers have all their equipment, and then in reality it's like the general for that part of the army already sold like all their rations like on the black market, already sold all their ammo on a different black market, put like pieces of rubber in the reactive armor and sold the actual reactive armor. Like there people have just been kind of like plundering this like the government resources ever since the Soviet Union fell, I think. So it's not nearly as like effective as they expect to be because they don't have any good way of accounting for it.
Yeah, it's just so weird. Like their air support like just never showed up as far as I know. Like I think there were some like dogfights and stuff. And Ukrainians did much better than expected, but like I think they had the number of planes was like 10-1 or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
What also is kind of amazing is that I think Ukraine rigged. They had these old like unmanned reconnaissance vehicles that the Soviet Union built, and they actually just kind of rigged them into cruise missiles.
Missiles.
Yeah, it was just like suicide. Like they're these unmanned it's like a full size plane that was like this unmanned thing. And they just like loaded it up with explosives, and that's what they hit when the bombers were actually about to launch to fire a bunch of cruise missiles. Like that's when like Ukraine hit them with these unmanned like things basically. But like basically what that means is like there was nothing particularly special about these weapons. It's like it was just like flying a plane all the way across Russia into that bomber base and then like crashing into those bombers on the runway and blowing up. Like that's basically what they did. And it just means that Russia has just like no effective air defense.
So what's the defense to that sort of stuff? Is that like those like automated turrets that just like shoot like a billion rounds and hope to like shoot the missile out of the sky?
That would be like the last round of defense, but like I think this is literally just like it wasn't particularly fast. I think it was just like a normal plane basically, just flying like a jet plane, just flying across that whole area. So it's like any weapon that you'd want to use against a plane, like that would be the one. So it's like any kind of radar, any kind of air defense missile, like I think anything like that would have worked, like, and they just didn't do it.
Did you see the new Top Gun?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So okay. So in the new Top Gun, they were like flying a mission into enemy territory, and like the enemy had two levels of defense. Like there was a perimeter set up with an air patrol going through, like just a couple of fighter jets just like cruising around, just looking for shit to blow up. And then they had a second level of defense, which was like surface to air missiles that were just like automated. But they only had like a floor that they could shoot over. So like the whole thing of the mission was to fly through this like canyon that was like below the floor that the surface air missiles shoot them through. But
I don't think they did anything like that. Yeah, I think they're just like.
I don't think they had any of that set up in Russia. They were just like, all right, cool, just cruise right in. See you later.
And then so they kept on doing that. They kept on hitting air bases with those things. And then I think when Russia finally started setting up its anti-air batteries, they ended up shooting down one of their own planes, which is probably why they were able to get in to begin with, because it's like they do have a fair number of military planes like flying around, so they don't want to shoot those down.
That's really funny. I didn't even hear about that one.
Did either of you guys want to join up and go fight for Ukraine on the front?
Shit, no.
Did you see all this like American military people go there at the beginning? They were like the cowboys, man. They were posting like TikToks and shit of them just like hee-hawing shit in Ukraine.
Yeah, dude.
With the guns out of their own houses too. That's the funniest thing.
Yeah, like if there's one situation where it's I guess cool to do that, it's in like an invaded ally country. Like it's not cool to do that in Iraq. It's not cool to do that in Afghanistan, because like you're just bullying the populace basically.
Sure.
But yeah, you do that fucking Russian soldiers. Nobody gives a shit about Russian soldiers.
What do you think's gonna happen to Russia next generation? Aren't they fucked?
This kind of thing that's happening is surprisingly historically normal for Russia. So I think it's probably why Russia's already been fucked. It's just this is
absolutely blown the fuck out. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I suppose.
No, just like massive like losses during various wars. Like,
oh yeah, they just kind of throw bodies at the problems.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, aren't they're just pulling bodies that should never like have gone to war? Aren't they like, didn't they decrease and increase like their drafting ages to catch a bigger range? Like, I feel like that's going to decimate something.
It's a big country though. Like,
it's big, but it's not populated.
Well, no, I was referring to the population. I mean, it geographically it's even bigger than it is populated, but it's still pretty populated. I think it's like really 180 million or something.
That's nothing, man. That's nothing.
That's bigger than any other country in Europe. Okay, sorry, 140.
In terms of population, like, it does seem like their dudes just kind of die regularly anyway. Like I think Russia is populated like 60-40 men to women, women to men, something like that. Like they're really overpopulated with women somehow. So you know they've been doing it like that for a long time. I don't know. I don't see. I don't know if this will actually make a difference or not in terms of like population. What this will make a difference is like probably geopolitical power, because like they've always been able like to kind of throw their weight around, like, don't fuck with us, we might fucking invade you. And now they invaded someone and it just like blew up in their face. Like, you know, they're taking big losses as a result of that, both in terms of equipment and manpower. So I don't know, that might be a pretty big setback. But we'll see what happens. Supposedly, like, Putin has like terminal cancer right now.
Yeah, he has doesn't he have like Parkinson's or some shit too? Isn't he all shaking right now?
I have no fucking idea. Maybe.
Well.
Anyway, the next topic. I don't know. We can keep going on this one if you guys want.
I mean, I don't really have much to say on it. I'm kind of exhausted what little knowledge I have on the subject.
Yeah, same.
I go to the R Ukraine subreddit like compulsively.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You were having a problem with that though. I thought you said you were gonna stop.
I didn't.
Like the
No.
like all like the war porn and like the fear mongering porn and like all that
So
sort of bait stuff.
well, what I did was I wanted to look at the videos until I wanted to find out what my limit was for like what kind of video I could watch. And the problem is like I figured out I found the video that I wish I didn't see. But then it's like I think what I never saw another video like that. I don't know if I learned to avoid that type of video or what, but like I never saw another one like that. But like now you just see all these drone videos, and it literally it's like you're in an RTS game, and you have like the top-down view, and then like you see the people crawling around, and then they blow up, and it's like it doesn't really seem that realistic, honestly. It's not like I don't think that's just desensitization. I think it's just like we're not really programmed to like recognize another human like from that top-down view like that. I don't think there is like a supernatural to have like an empathic connection there. And yeah, so I just like watch like lots of stuff like that, and yeah, I don't know, maybe I don't know why.
Yeah.
If you guys don't do that, I think that's the right approach. Actually, I don't know why.
Are you NAFO?
What's that?
Do you know what NAFO is?
I don't think so.
It's a North Atlantic fella organization. It's basically like a meme group that's like pro Ukraine in the war in the war in Ukraine. They basically just conduct meme warfare constantly. Everyone in it is represented by like a squished little like doggy.
Yeah, I'll sign up.
Like you've probably seen like dudes around like that, but like meme warfare is like legit now. It's really weird.
If we literally fight wars with memes, like I don't know how the function of that would work other than just like
I mean it's propaganda tool, right?
No. Like I'm not talking about propaganda. I mean a literal war. Like we lose and gain territory by memes somehow.
Battle memes has been a thing in sci-fi already. Like there's sci-fi books about like battle memes. I think even in the culture series and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. What else you got, Nate?
Yeah. What else do you want to talk about?
Houses, house maintenance, house renovations. Yes, this thing. Yeah. So I guess yeah. So me and my fiance we're in the market for buying a house, and then there's kind of like three categories of like things. Like in my mind there were three options. There was like get a very small condo that where like both of us like would combine, kind of like get this small condo and then try to pay it off quickly, and that would be like the most affordable option. And then there's it's like, okay, what's the other range of what we can get? It would be some kind of like luxury thing. And then like the middle option would be to like try to get something where like instead of just having like a super like big place just for us, where it's like we would just do it, kind of maybe make it a bit more of like an investment property where it's like we live in part of it, and then it would like pay for itself. And that, so like in my calculus, that's kind of like the middle of the road, because it's like it's not necessarily like the most frugal thing we could do, but it's definitely like quite a bit more frugal than just like getting a lot of space for us. And then like what that leads you to is it leads you to this place where you're looking at the space that you have, and you're like, all right, like what do I do with this? Like how do I improve the value? Like do I rent this? Do I Airbnb this? Like etc. So like yeah, I don't know, that this has kind of been like a preeminent in my mind ever since we decided to go that way. And I think like I know that you're renovating stuff, and also I know that you've got like a lot of room as well. So I'm wondering if you ever considered like that kind of thing, Justin, or
We used to have renters. Um, like it's mostly just Steph's friends. Uh, Mostly it was like a helping out kind of thing. Like we offered discounted
mm,
rent because they didn't really have anywhere else to go, and like she offered them like odd jobs because she has like the convention business and stuff. Um, it's like okay, like
mm,
if you're gonna do it, I wouldn't recommend doing it to friends.
mm,
Um, just because like I don't know. I feel like living with people is pretty difficult. Um,
Well, see
uh,
that's the thing. Like you're
yeah,
doing like people are living in your living space.
right.
If you could have like if your house could have been exactly the same and you could have like walled off a section and rented that out, you think it would have been
Yeah,
easier?
like like maybe if we had like a suite in the basement or something.
Like
I
your
think
garage is
that
big. Imagine putting another level on the garage and just renovating the whole garage to like an apartment.
maybe like that it's a possibility. Like it's something we could have done, but like I don't know. We have like all this extra space in the house. It seemed silly to go that far. I
Hmm.
guess we could have though. But I feel like that would have taken forever to pay for itself anyway. Like you're looking probably what close to six figures to renovate something to that size.
if it's just like moving interior walls around, like it really depends. Like what's the extent of what you're doing? Like yeah, I guess all of that labor is super expensive now though. So
So
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
that's a big part of the issue.
I can tell you guys what we've been doing, and then you guys and I'll tell you how much it's all cost so far.
Sure.
Um, so sort of similar to Nate's idea of like having a couple different routes to pick from. Um, my mom and I were living together, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go buy a place. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go buy a place too. I was like, all right. So we're both looking for whatever. Um, like I have a couple things that I really like. A few things I needed, a bunch of stuff I wanted, and then a bunch of other stuff that's like it'd be nice to have, if it's within budget. But she was very particular about what she wanted. Um, she pretty much wanted like a luxury space, but not too big, but not too small. But she didn't want to spend like $1 million for like a tiny house. Um, but she also wanted like prime location. So there's very few places that are actually like not that expensive, but luxury, but not too big. Because once you hit like those kind of neighborhoods she was looking at, everything is just like a giant mansion.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the options between like me finding a place and her finding a place, she was like, well, if we find like a mansion, we can just buy it together and like divide it up. I was like, okay, cool, that works. We ended up not finding a mansion. Like housing prices, we hit like the pandemic crisis like skyrocketed. Um, we we put a couple offers down at some places, but really, really, really top of the budget. Like a little bit over $1 million because you have to factor in anywhere we get, it would have been at least like 30, 40, 50 grand just to like functuate a little bit and make it into 2 units. So the place we got now is on the smaller side, but it's also on the lower end of the budget. And the house, if you imagine to the viewers, if you imagine like a nice like rectangular house, 2 stories, one on the bottom, one on top. The only problem is that there's stairs bisecting the fucking middle of the house, right in the goddamn middle. Um, and because it's like right in the middle, on the upstairs, it's kind of just like a little like doorway, closed off doorway that like goes down. So luckily enough, it was in a doorway, so you pretty much didn't even have to do anything upstairs. You just keep that door closed and it's fine. But downstairs, you have the entire stairwell, and then the footprint of the stairs in the middle of the place. It ate up like 150 square feet. It fucked with the floor plan and everything. So the idea was to get rid of the stairs, close off the floors, turn it into like a true 2 unit, put exterior stairs. For the upstairs, which is where I'm gonna be, I just needed to redo 2 bathrooms, and do a full kitchen. None of the other bedrooms are being really touched, and I'm just like running Ethernet upstairs. That's pretty much it. There's like some new power outlets going in places as well. Where the stairs were, though, they're building a laundry room, and then downstairs, kitchen, half bath, full bath. There's like a master suite with a full bath. I have taken you both, I think, to it. Although I don't think either of you been to it recently. It's a lot different now. So the upstairs, the 2 bathrooms are almost done. The kitchen cabinets are going to be here at the end of March for both kitchens. So the kitchens are just gutted. The laundry room upstairs is framed. The entire downstairs is framed. They started tiling the downstairs master bathroom today. We had to redo the pipes. The main pipes are rusted and cracked to the house. So we redid all the pipes. We had to move gas around. We had to redo a lot of the power. We had to add a lot of power. We had to do some HVAC stuff. Couple other like random things like that, but effectively like completely gut and reframe the downstairs. Cost of everything up to now, including half the price of the cabinets, both kitchen cabinets, but no kitchen countertops, no appliances for anywhere. So no washer dryer, no kitchen appliances, no interior doors yet. But like all the bathroom stuff is paid for. Kitchen cabinets are half paid for. All the framing, all the labor, everything up to now has been $85,000.
Jesus fuck. I mean, like that's a lot of work for 85 grand. But that's still like 85 grand. Holy shit.
So I'm projecting another 55,000 before the project's done.
Holy shit.
20 to 30 of that though is making the stairs outside. Like if push came to shove, we would just not make the stairs outside and just move in and then deal with that later. Because like the idea is that we're going to have 2 front doors right on top of each other with exterior stairs. But I have a back door anyways that I'm primarily going to be using because that's where my parking is. And then there's going to be a front door downstairs. So if needs be, we could just skip that and save like 20, 30 grand for now. But I doubt we're going to do that just to get it all done now while we have the guys and everything.
Right, just like punt on it.
Yeah.
If you really need to, but like fuck that.
Yeah. That's like kind of the majority of the costs right now. But when it's all said and done, I think the value of the house, I think when it's all said and done, we're gonna be about somewhere between 120 to 180,000 in, depending on any other road bumps and shit we get and the cost of shit by the time we buy it. I imagine the value of the house will go up by about 500,000.
By 500?
Yeah.
Like over the lifetime you own it, or like immediately?
Fairly within a year, I'd say it's going to go up by 500.
Wow. Okay.
So is there some like financial thing to do with that? Like, is there like an opportunity to refinance with better terms, like just because of that, or?
I don't think so. The only thing that would really affect that is like PMI. And so PMI is your mortgage insurance, purchase mortgage insurance. And right. PMI, for people who don't know, you usually have to pay that when your equity is below 20% in the house. So let's say I can only afford 5% down and I get approved for a loan for 5% down. I have to pay an additional, let's say like 1% of the loan a month. Let's say that's like $500 or something a month until I reach 20% equity in the house. Usually, I don't think people are approved unless if the PMI is more than like 60 months. But with
the interest rates in 2020, like you didn't even need to put anything down. It was crazy. Like I did this whole spreadsheet and it's just like interest rate was so low. It's like even with the PMI, like I decided just to not put anything down. Like I still did put some down, but like
I mean you have to put some. I think you have to put at least like 3% down. as like a
I think
bare
I think I
minimum.
did 5, but it was like basically the smallest that I could without changing the rate. Because I don't even think the rate was changing. Like it's like I asked them to run out all these different numbers, like 5% down, 10% down, 15% down, and it's like in 2020, like the rate, it's like it didn't matter actually, except for the PMI. That was the only thing.
Yeah, if
So
you can get up to 20% like drop in PMI, it's pretty nice. Um, like we did 20% down, um, and now like I think the mortgage even after what you call it, even after insurance is like 1,900. That's with property taxes and everything. Um, like I've looked around at apartments and like getting a place half the size is like the same price, which kind of sucks because I'm gonna be honest, I don't like owning. Like, uh, I don't like having to deal with the lawn. I don't like having to deal with random issues. I don't like having to shop around to get some guy to do work on stuff. I just want to be able to call office and like have them come out, fix the thing, and then go away. Um,
I
so
understand
I
that, but I
yeah,
mean, just by virtue of owning, like your equity has gone up quite a lot.
yeah, yeah. I get it.
Like you bought at the right time.
I did. I really did. Like I got really lucky on that. Like, cause if all of my stuff had been stock, like,
It would have shot up and tanked, straight tanked.
yeah, right. Um, yeah. I mean, like it's good to diversify your investments, and this is like the one investment where I'm really glad we diversified like something. Um, but man,
I've heard that
like,
the like one of the main financial benefits to owning is actually just the fact that you can. It's like you effectively pay yourself rent, and that all is tax free because it's like you're avoid. I mean, basically, it's a fancy way of saying you don't have to pay rent, right? But it's like you could imagine a scenario where you owned and you also paid rent to yourself, and if that rent all went on the books as income, you'd have to pay taxes for all of that, right?
I mean, maybe
But just
like sort of.
just nixing that whole transaction, it just makes all that income tax free, basically.
Sort of. So if you itemize, you can write off the interest. Um, however, like the Trump tax cuts like made the standard deduction way better. To the point where I think in like 2018 and 2019 we took the standard deduction. We didn't even itemize even owning the house.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I
Um,
think a lot of people have had a harder time beating the standard deduction now.
right. Yeah.
I don't think I could either.
If you have like a really expensive place to go out, um, then it's probably worth it a lot more. But you know, if you're owning like even a place up to 500K, like I don't know how much that really comes into the equation. Um, but you know, just having that the equity building like year after year is pretty valuable.
Well, but what I was saying though is like, so say you move out, but you want to rent the place. You say you move, like you want to move out and continue like owning that place and rent it. Then what you would do is like you would get like a rent check every month, right? But then you would have to pay income tax on that. So it's like you'd be so it's independent of the mortgage, right? It's like the rental value of the house, specifically in the case where you are the one living there. That's when it's tax free because simply because it's like and like if you calculate the value of the house in terms of its rent potential, like that's all pre-tax, right? But if you're the one getting that value, then you don't have to pay the tax, right? So, I don't know if that makes sense, but I thought it did.
I think where you get, I think I get where you're getting at. I mean
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like if you're owning it as an investment property, I think it's pretty good. Um, uh, if you if you're using your primary residence as your investment, I don't know how much I like it.
Um, I can understand that, but I don't know. There's a lot of ways to think about it. Like, for example, like so we have 2 units, or we're gonna have effectively 2 units in this one house. Um, And having a place like that is exceedingly rare in Bethesda. Exceedingly rare. It's in it's the only place I can think of that's like this in Bethesda, minus a few places that literally have a guest house.
Yeah.
It is exceedingly rare to have like an actual multi-unit in Bethesda. And like my mom is very adamant. She's like, I don't want like, she's like, I'm making it the exact way I want it. Like, I'm just gonna live in here till I die. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, if it's big or small, like, I don't see myself moving out of here.
Sure.
But if she did want to move out, and if I moved out, like, we could rent each unit for at least $3,500 a month, up to $4,500 a month. So I don't know, like, if you think about your shit as an investment, like, there's that. I don't like thinking about it as an investment. Like, my brother and my aunt are both just like, you have to think about the future with this stuff, like the investment value. And so I was like, yeah, but like, I want to poop how I'm comfortable pooping. Like, I don't want to think about someone else like potentially moving in, like in the future, and consider how they want to poop. I want to poop how I want to poop. So, I mean, that's like one thing to consider, and it makes sense. It does, but I can also understand how it can be frustrating, where it's like, I don't want to think about that where I live.
Honestly, yeah, the tax aspect of it is something that I'm really thinking about, because I'm hoping that I actually don't think I want to be like a long-term like landlord. I don't think I want that to be like. It kind of seems like I am on a trajectory where like. Yes, I basically I never want to be in a position in my life where I have to evict somebody. I want to make like whatever decisions one would make to just like reduce the chance of that as close to zero as I can. And
I mean, you could just hire a property management company, and then you won't be the one doing it.
Right, but also
but it simplifies your life a lot.
I do have this thought that like. I mean, honestly, maybe this is even wrong, but maybe this is just my like delusional bubble. Is like I don't think people running Airbnbs are actually like in like hostile eviction scenarios that much, because maybe it's like they've got the Airbnb feedback, and it's like I don't think I guess hotels and Airbnbs do actually have to evict people now that I think about it, but it's like I don't think it's normal for people to like settle in the same way and then have that expectation that like they would stay past like their short-term rental, right? Like I don't. And then you've got the Airbnb like profiles and the feedback, and you've got some recourse with Airbnb itself, maybe in that situation. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
go ahead.
So I saw like a video about some Airbnb person that was in California or something, and they just had a squatter and just couldn't get rid of them. Police wouldn't take them away. Like they had no like right to like actually remove them like physically, or the squatter could just sue and win probably. And the squatter was like openly hostile about it. Like she was like, "Bitch, I'm not leaving. I'm just not."
I saw that.
Was that the one where she was like renting a room in her house?
Yeah.
That's fucked, man. That's so fucked.
Yeah, man. Dude, that seems like a fucking nightmare.
I think you are allowed to change the locks, but I think their strategy to avoid that is just to never leave.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how that would even work, but yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another point in the box of don't fucking Airbnb your own living space. Like, make sure it's like, if it's in the same like property, make sure it's like completely separate.
I think that might be kind of unique to California laws, because what I heard is that if you are doing rentals in your own living space, then that actually makes it a lot easier to get the police to take them out, because then it's like then the perception here at least is that there becomes more of like a personal safety issue.
In law school, like Airbnb wasn't that big yet, so we never really talked about it. So I'm and I haven't really looked it up, but I do know that like for like warrants and stuff, hotels can act as like your domicile. So like the police have to treat a hotel room how they would treat like your house in terms of like warrants and knocking and like 14th Amendment and stuff. In terms of Airbnb, I don't know. I don't know there's specific statutes and stuff dealing with it, because state by state and county by county, like your tenancy somewhere is like, I think Maryland's like 3 weeks. If I stay at Justin's house for 3 weeks, then I can claim that that's my domicile now, and then he would have to formally evict me if I don't leave. But 3 weeks and minus 1 day, 20 days, like he could just be like, all right, I'm gonna call the cops and I'm gonna point my gun at you and you're gonna get out because you're trespassing. So I don't know where.
Yeah, my hope is just the Airbnb profiles and feedback is just gonna make all this possible to avoid.
Yeah, that's a good point from chat. When we domiciled Andy's house during Andyland, like the first 2 or 3 Andylands was like over a month.
Yeah.
Technically, we didn't. Technically, we didn't have to leave.
Yeah.
Those of us, I think the first one I was there for 2 or 3 weeks. I think Nate, you and Chan were both there for like the whole full month on the first Andyland, or it was like the full for like 5 or 6 weeks. You guys didn't even have to leave when his parents came back. You could have just been
there's some parts of my life that are kind of like a blur, honestly.
Yeah.
You guys could have been like, well, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, this is your life now. Sorry.
I ain't leaving, bitch.
Would they have even noticed I was there if I just strategically picked like where to
go? But yeah, so I'm curious as to how Airbnb has shaped some of this stuff, because there's local ordinances about Airbnb, but that's mostly about like how much you as an owner can profit off of and use it.
So DC passed this whole ordinance about Airbnb, and like that, and I thought that ordinance was actually giving an opportunity to specifically the situation that I'm in now, because what they decided was that I think they got sick of people that had properties that they didn't even like live in at all doing the Airbnb thing, and so they classified those all as vacation rentals, meaning like if you're not there, then that's a vacation rental. It's like you vacated, like I guess the idea is you're on vacation. I don't completely understand the terminology, but if you're not there, you get 90 days a year where you can Airbnb it if you don't live there. If it's your vacation house or whatever. And it seems like they just want to incentivize like there's various programs in DC that incentivize like residency. There's like a homestead tax bonus or something, and then also like with Airbnb, it's like if you apply for that homestead tax bonus, that's how they try to have various ways to determine if you actually live there. If you apply for that, then the 90-day thing is waived. And then, but then my concern was, okay, well, if the 90-day thing is waived, if you live there, does that mean that I need to claim to live in every section that I want to live in to Airbnb? Because like I don't think it's gonna. I think it's only gonna really work well if I can kind of have that all be like business expenses. If the majority of the house is going to be like business expenses to maintain it, and then that can hopefully eat like all the Airbnb income, and then maybe that could be an LLC with like zero profit, but it's like kind of maintaining the house and whatnot. That's when it starts to actually make sense, I think. But because like there's some. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it makes sense if we're really taking personal income tax on Airbnb. And there's this extra tax, like a hotel tax. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff I don't understand yet. But I'm hoping.
I'm sure there's an accounting firm that specializes this stuff in DC.
I'm sure. Yeah. Are you thinking about buying in DC or like?
Yeah, we already did.
You already bought in DC. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yep.
Neat. Oh, I got a wrap soon. I got Dennis in the morning.
Okie doke.
And anyway, well, yeah. So lots of unknowns. Like I've been trying to look at I haven't done like a super deep dive on any specific potential use, but I've tried to kind of like just get an awareness from like a few different possibilities that like make it seem like it's not really irresponsible to do it. And I'm just, yeah, I don't know. Like, I wish I knew for sure that it was like a good idea, but like it seems like there's a good enough chance. So, yeah, I don't know. We're hoping the Airbnb stuff is going to work nicely.
And are you planning any renos or anything other than just like kind of fixing odds and ends there to get it ready to like live in and Airbnb?
There's lots of renovations that we want to do, but it's like, um, I think we're hoping we can get it to pay for those, and it's just not doing that yet, right? Because the Airbnbs aren't running yet.
Sure.
But yeah, there's some stuff that might be more convenient to do ahead of time, but like we're actually already past that point because it's like I had to move stuff in because I was losing my access to the space I was renting. And then like if we move stuff in, put stuff on the floor, well then it's hard to redo the floor, right? But we might still want to do that anyway. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so we just redid our floor. It's not that bad. Like we just put everything in the kitchen and like they just were able to move around and do all the stuff. If you leave a couch on the floor or it's whatever, they just go around it. And they move it back and forth a little bit. But like I did my whole downstairs apart from the kitchen, which is probably 800 square feet or something. And they were in and out in like one day.
Cool.
Yeah.
Was it like that? Did you get like that? There's this new kind of like fake wood that's pretty good. Was that
Like
No,
what
I
do you
didn't
guys
get laminate. I got
Laminate
like
wood.
regular like hardwood,
hardwood?
like
Okay.
engineered hardwood or natural hardwood?
natural hardwood.
Because there is hardwood already, but it's like kind of janky hardwood. It's not like completely like flat.
Um,
Like and yeah, it might be worth redoing.
Maybe. You could just get refinished, and that would be like probably less than half the cost of just redoing the whole thing. But I mean, it depends on the subfloor. If the subfloor is fucked, then you might just have to rip it up and redo it. But
I mean, if there's existing hardwood, you could just sand and stain it. But,
yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying.
sanding and staining, I think, has to be empty because the stain has to dry. Whereas if you're just like taking it out and putting new floor in, you can actually move shit around. Like as they're fixing up the floor, you could put stuff on the new floor. But sanding and staining, I think the whole place has to be empty.
So do you guys both have gas heat?
No, I'm all electric.
Electric? Okay.
Ours is gas heat.
Okay. I'm trying to get a sense for like what a normal. So have you had like a couple of winter bills there already, or like
I mean, yeah, but it's gonna.
it's not like the full normal
Yeah,
temperature yet, I guess.
yeah. It's pretty much like running zero or close to zero.
Good. So what's the like? You're just trying to keep it from freezing, I guess, right?
Pretty
Because you're not
much.
living
Pretty
there.
much. I think it was
Yeah.
like I think all the bills were like $20 a month until recently, and then electricity's like $100 a month with these guys running power tools all day.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe the place isn't maybe needs some insulate. Like apparently there's stuff you can do where like people can look for like cold spots in the insulation or something. Yeah, I don't know.
I did so insulation. There's a whole world of insulation, and it's based on an R rating. And I don't remember like what the higher or lower ratings necessarily mean. I believe usually higher is more expensive, but that doesn't necessarily mean like more insulating because each one is specific to certain things. So I went with R16 Safe and Sound, which is like a rock insulation, which is better than fiberglass, and it's for really really good sound deadening, which is what I picked.
And that's in the exterior wall. I didn't know you were doing exterior walls like that.
They had to rip out a lot of the the exterior border walls just to like get the shit. And especially
So it's like when you're in there, you might as well
Yeah,
upgrade the
yeah.
insulation, I guess.
2 minutes, by the way.
All right, and then
Okay.
in the whole ceiling, like they took the whole ceiling off, and I wanted to like try and soundproof as much as possible between the ceiling.
Yeah,
so
for two
the
units, that
floors.
definitely makes sense.
And we're doing double drywall with a sound insulation composite in between the two layers of drywall. So it should be fairly quiet between the floors.
Mm.
But yeah,
All right.
it's a whole world of this shit. It's very very expensive. Like, if you can learn it to do it yourself and you have a few weeks of time, it's a lot cheaper. Like, a bathroom will come out to be like $5,000 instead of $15,000.
I'm thinking I'm probably just going to be there with YouTube, just like trying to do all this, like how to rip up the subfloor, like, with my phone or my YouTube.
I mean, you can, but it'll take you 10 times as long. You'll probably save at least 50% or more in costs, but it'll take you 10 times as long. It probably won't be as good, but I mean, you'll learn a new skill, which is invaluable.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, we should probably wrap.
We're about at an hour anyway, so we can wrap a quick short episode. Thanks for joining us, guys. And any last words, Nate, on war or houses?
Yeah, any sort of connection between the two would be like, it would probably involve the house blowing up, which is sad. So I don't know. I'll skip it.
Nate.
Excellent job, Nate. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Till next time.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.